Next question here. So bruises are not badges of honor. um, Bruises are not badges of honor. So I took a post down in the group this week. Uh, One of the things that I don't allow in our group at creating the Lacrosse Goalie of the Future is uh, is kind of like the promotion of like, hey, look at this bruise I got, uh, uh, because I look at bruises differently than most people do. And now some of you guys that have followed me for a while, you guys look at it the same way now. But but sometimes as parents, um, people just say like, we say stuff, and people aren't really thinking it through. It was kind of like the blame comment we had today about like, you never blame the goalie, and I'm like, wait a second, no, no, that's not true. Blame can actually be a really good educational tool, and so we want to keep that in mind. But bruises to me are interesting, and yeah, and yeah. Um, I've been trying to figure this out. Um, I've been trying to figure this out because it's a fine line. The child abuse, the thing. I've said that, hey, if your coach went up to your kid and hit them in that same spot where the ball hit them and they got a bruise, if they hit them with a hammer, that would be child abuse. But somehow with lacrosse goalies, it's okay. And so I'm not going to throw that, like, I'm not going to throw that out there, but I'm going to throw it out in a way that there's a balance here. There's a learning. There's a point of learning, and I believe that a bruise would be a badge of honor if it was like the last second to go in the game. Your team's up by one. Your goalie throws themselves across the cage in front of an oncoming shot and takes it somewhere where they're not padded, and saves the game, and they win the championship, and they get the girl or they get the guy, and off they go right into the sunset. That's a badge of honor. All right, cool. Because, like, at the bar later, they're going like, yeah, oh, check this out. Maybe not for your kid at the bar, but you know what I mean. The idea, though, is that bruises are a sign of something, and we're going to talk about that tonight. The other thing, too, that I'll just tell you is like pain, right? Just the concept of pain. Pain is the signal. Pain is a signal that the body gives. It's a feedback loop to the brain, right? It's oh, I touched something hot, and the brain goes, okay, well, let's not do that again. So it's a learning environment. The job of the body is to keep it safe. Like, the brain keeps the body safe, and so it's why we have ribs around our internal organs. And therefore why we use protection around our body. But as human beings, we love to put ourselves in these situations where things are challenging, right? Like, and as humans, it's amazing. Like, we do amazing things as humans. And what we do is as athletes, like, the Olympics are about to start on Friday. We will see athletes doing amazing things. We will see athletes getting hurt. Today, the Canadian soccer goalie, they're playing Japan. Japan gets a little bit of a semi-breakaway. Goalie comes out, ends up taking down the offensive player. Offensive player falls on her. Looks like she like broke her collarbone or whatever. But it's like, that's what we do as athletes. So how do we find this balance between what is that point of no return, and that thing? The quote that I love that I was given when I was really young was like, only those who risk going too far will possibly find out how far one can go. Okay. So, but that being said, in the quest to get to that point, gymnasts jump into foam pits. Aerial skiers use harnesses and trampolines. BMX riders, launch off of ramps and land now on inflatable ramps that are soft. Soccer goalies wear padded shirts. We use tennis balls. Why? Because we're wiring in the movement we want when performance matters. Okay, when performance matters. So when your goalie is like 10, 12, 14 years old, or even, for Avery, like as a college athlete, like the thing is like, the term I want you guys to all wire into your goalie right now is low mileage. Okay. Low mileage. That's what we're doing here. is I want your goalie to be elite when it matters. All right. And unfortunately, the mindset and the culture in the sport of field lacrosse is such that that thinking is not there. Okay. Uh, I got informed yesterday by a goalie mom that there's a guy in another group who I kicked out of this group who is soliciting people from this group to join his group. And I will tell you that the reason why I kicked him out of this group was for this very topic. The idea that your goalie doesn't have to suck it up, right? The idea that, oh, if your goalie can't take a bruise in practice, they shouldn't be a goalie anyway. That is complete and utter bullshit with a capital B, right? So I get really fired up on this because this year alone, people in our Facebook group, we had goalies who got beaten out of this game. And hopefully they come back, but it was bad enough for them, the teams that they were on, the coaches that they were facing, the shooters that they were facing in practice. It was enough for these goalies to say, you know what? I don't want to deal with this. I'm done. I'm going to go be a kid. And some of those kids were in high school. Some of those kids were in junior high. But that just drives me crazy because if you focus on like elite athletic development, which is what I do, all right, not just with lacrosse, with other athletes, the way athletes train outside of this sport and outside of this position is dramatically different than what lacrosse goalies deal with here. Okay. And so I deleted that post by the mom who was like, hey, check out the post, and then so if that mom's listening to me right now, you can message, we can message later and it's all good. Like I'm not beating up on you or anything like that. But there was a dad who wrote a post that's in the group asking like, his son's thighs are all full of bruises. And I'm like, whoa, why is that happening? Okay. So your goalie is one shot away from ruining their confidence. And what I mean by that is actually it's not confidence that your athlete needs, it's courage. So when people say like, I wish my goalie was more confident. No, what your goalie needs is to be more courageous. Right? Confidence comes from successful past experiences. To go into a new environment and to have success, it takes courage. And one of the ways to improve courageousness is to protect yourself, right? So if I want to go on a safari and I'm not going to walk into the jungle with a stake in my hand, right? I may walk into the jungle without the stake. Or I may walk into the jungle and go like, okay, I'm going to put myself in a car. Maybe that car's an open roof. Oh, but wait, that tiger's going to jump. I'm going to go into the jungle with a car with a closed roof. I'm going to look like the Pope, right? And it's going to be a fun, enjoyable experience. So the thing is that there's no benefit to me going into the jungle without the car. Right. I want to see the lion. I don't need to pet the lion. I don't want to be eaten by the lion. But your lacrosse goalies kind of do the same thing. It's like they're going into the jungle. And coaches are saying like, okay, you got to go in the jungle, like holding a stake and be buck naked, no shoes, and good luck. Right. And I wish you had more confidence. No, it's stupid. Right. So the thing to understand is that one thing about bruises that people don't really talk about much is that bruises are very subjective. Right. So my pain tolerance is different than your pain tolerance. Also, the pain tolerance of an adult is very different than the pain tolerance of a child. Right. And when I say child, I mean like 18 and under. Okay. Now there's a couple of things that I've noticed with goalies that I've worked with is that over the years is that there's certain body types that come into the sport that tend to not worry about bruises as much as others. One is the goalie who is like big and strong and athletic. And that would be like my football guys and my rugby girls. Okay. They tend to withstand shots the easiest. And so they're not usually prone to putting on pads or whatever. They're usually pretty good. Elaine Miller's son Darius is a prime example of that type of athlete. I got a couple of Lacrosse Goalie University members currently who are junior high school football kids. And I've got one rugby girl. And they fall in that category. The second category is the kid who's big and fluffy, for lack of a better term. Okay, right? They're normal height, but they're kind of chunky, and they got some fluff in some spots, right? But when the ball hits them, what's interesting about that kid is that the ball stings. it's like they don't have necessarily, they're a big kid, but they don't necessarily have mastery over that ball, and that bruise is actually a deterrent to them. The other category is slight and skinny, right? And so this, a lot of young kids kind of fall into that category where there's not a lot of muscle, there's not a lot of flubber, and that you feel like you press in their quad and it's going right to their bone. Okay, and that's a real thing. Okay, and then the other category is the athletic kid in every age group, right? That is not, they're not fluffy and they're not skinny. They're just kind of right in that athletic, good muscle, like, they got muscle on them, and they've maybe played some other sports, and their tolerance for that micro trauma, micro pain is important. But the thing is a shot that impacts your body can really mess with your head. Okay. And it's unnecessary. All right. So what I wanted to share, what I wanted to share was, we got some comments in here. Alex, I see your comment here. I'll get to these comments in a second, guys. So, so you've got to ask, like, why is your goalie getting bruised in the first place? And there's a couple categories of this. So the first one is, and Shannon, I see your comment. I'll get to that in a second. Okay. So a couple categories for your goalie. One, when they get hit and they get a bruise, okay, is they were hit by a shot and the goalie didn't move, and it was a game. They were hit by a shot and the goalie didn't move, but it was practice. And so, Shannon, to your point, this comment, I don't know about other people, but whenever I get hit in a game, I barely recognize it at first due to an adrenaline rush. I call that pain with a purpose. It's like, I learned that from our midwife when we had kids. The midwife was like, for the mom, was like, you're not going to have any pain that you can't withstand. But I know there's a lot of people listening right now who, their wives had epidurals and things like that. Like, I get it. It's all very personal preference, but it's, that's the idea is like, it's like pain with a purpose. I'll take that shot in a game, but I won't take it in practice. The problem is that still that pain lingers. Okay. And you can get hit by a ball in a game and not want to play this sport again. Okay. The other category I was kind of thinking of was the goalie was hit by a shot by a coach in practice and the goalie didn't move. Okay. That's really important to understand. Okay, that's a very interesting distinction because when a goalie is getting shot on by a coach, there is a level of trust. There's a level of trust and there's a level of focus, and the goalie is trying to learn how to move. But this is why coaches shoot from like right out front from 15 yards, is because they got a whole big wide net to shoot at and they're going to miss the goalie, right? What bothers me is that, like, if I pull up this graphic real quick, right, this is what most people can relate to is this is your coach, and they're basically operating like right here, taking shots, right? Why? Because they've got this big, massive net to shoot at. You rarely see a coach shoot from like this sort of angle, right? Which is ironic because that's what your goalie will see on game day. But why don't they do that? One, they're worried about hitting the goalie, and two, they're worried about throwing it wide and having to chase balls. Okay, so that's why coaches stand like out here and go, "Yay, we're warming up the goalie," and the goalie's like, "Yay, I'm not really getting much work here." Okay, so that's important to understand because that's the third category. Fourth one I came up with is the goalie moved their stick in front of the ball but missed the ball and it struck their body in a game, or the goalie moved their stick in front of the ball but missed the ball and it struck their body in practice. Okay, so one of the things I tell everybody that they should be working on with their goalie is shots directly at their chest. Okay, with a stick. Right. So the goalie, so I encourage it without a stick, but you've got to be aware of commotio cordis. You got to use tennis balls, yada, yada. But the other one is when was the last time you shot on your goalie and shot balls right at their body? So they just had to catch it like here. Right. And I can guarantee for most of you listening to me right now, it was like never. Okay. But when the goalie has confidence that they're going to stop everything, then their courage level can go up. Okay. The sixth category came up was your goalie deliberately moves their body in front of the ball in a game, or the goalie deliberately moved their body in front of the ball in practice. And so what I mean by body is that could be a foot, a shin, a knee, an elbow, an upper arm, a head, a chest, a left testicle, a right ovary, like whatever. but the point is that they did it deliberately and took that shot. Okay, this is where save percentages will drastically improve when your goalie feels courageous, and the best way to feel courageous is when they're protected. Okay, and so to me, when the goalie gets hit and they get a bruise, it falls into one of these 7 categories that I just read. Okay, and the idea there is then to go, well, could we have avoided the bruise? Right? Because when we're thinking about low mileage, I'm thinking about your goalie making a save on game day. Right? That's when this matters. That's when I want your goalie to be good, not in practice, not against the coach, not in the backyard on pizza night, right? I want your goalie, whether they're a Division I college goalie, male or female, or they're U8 and they're just starting out. The idea is like we want them to be able to make the most efficient movement when that matters. All right. So the question is, when they get a bruise, what happens? Is that necessary mileage on your goalie? And this is where coaches are just like, to me, are just asinine in their thinking about this, because they're like, oh, well, you got to suck it up, goalie. Yeah, got to suck it up, right? Got to step in front of the ball. The reason why your goalie's not stepping the ball is because it hurts. Okay, it hurts. And so for the parents that don't believe me, I want you to go put like a pot of water on the stove tonight for some pasta, but don't put the pasta in there. Just let the water boil, right? And push the pot over. Get one of those pots with those handles. Push the pot over just a little bit so that the handle gets hot. Not just the pot gets hot, but the handle gets hot. So you need like a mitt, because if you don't have the mitt and you grab the handle, guess what happens? It hurts. So I want you to do that once. Okay, just try it. Do it again. Okay, good. All right, cool. But we're training you for like a cooking competition, so you got to suck that up. Right? So guess what you're going to do again? No, there's no mitt involved. No mitt. This is a Gordon Ramsay moment, right? No mitt for you. Grab it again. Strain the pasta. You could be like, no, that's crazy. Well, guess what? When your goalie is unprotected, whether they're lack protection, padding, shin guards, football pants, knee guards, whatever, or you're not using tennis balls, or you're shooting from too close, that's basically what you're telling them to do. Grab the hot pot. Well, that's a dumb thing. Okay. So the idea here is that, to me, if you grab that hot pot, right, and you're just cooking pasta in your kitchen and it's like Wednesday night dinner, that's a waste. If you're cooking on a cooking show for like $1.5 million and you got to grab a hot pot without a mitt, maybe that matters to you. Okay. Maybe that's worth it to you. Values and performance collide. Okay. But the thing is that, why did I get that bruise? And was it necessary? Right. And is it affecting me? Back to my first point, one of the goalies I did a goalie audit for this week, a clip he had from one of these camps was, this shot was like to his off stick low foot, right? That's really what gets hit a lot. And what did he do? He pulled his leg out of the way while he tried to get his stick there. And I could hear the coach in the background not say a damn thing. And then the guy shooting the ball was like, gotta step. You're like, no, gotta not be a dumbass, coach. So, okay. So low mileage for your goalie. Bruises are not badges of honor unless, like I said, it's the end of the game, Under Armour All-America, whatever, state championship, pass across the crease, your goalie dives like some freaking movie. And they're like, no, and the ball that gets shot and they take it, I don't know, someplace fleshy. They make the save. They get the bruise. They show the bruise off at the bar later that night. That's a badge of honor. Everything else is a waste of energy. And at the worst, it's damaging, right? It's damaging. I won't get into all that right now. All right. So if that makes sense to everybody, could you please leave a like or whatever? I got some comments here. This is Jonathan Redford. Some people that like bruises and show them off are the ones that made kids like salt tabs at football in the 70s. That's a good one. Very good. People that show their kids bruises and show them off are the same ones that licked salt at football practice in the 70s. Got it. I wanted my guys to wear like a neoprene sleeve on legs that they wouldn't do it. Peer pressure has to change. That's when you've got to be the adult in the room and make it a rule. All right. You got to make it a rule. Bob, Yeah, Bob, I see you. Alex wrote, my son stopped wearing his pads at a goalie camp for the same reason. And that sucks, Alex, because if that was a goalie camp, if I ran a camp, one of the like every goalie comes to the camp with baseball shin guards and football pants, and we're gonna work on pardon me, but we're gonna work on shit. Like we're gonna work on it. Right? There's no question. Right. So that's really disappointing. This was Shannon. I don't know about other people, but whenever I get hit in the game, I barely recognize it. First, do the adrenaline rush. Right. But then you feel it later. Right. Um, I liken bruises as okay. There's Chris. I liken bruises with goalies as firefighters with burns. It might happen during drills, exercises, but shouldn't. And we do everything we can to avoid it. We understand a bruise slash burn might happen to make a save, but it should be the exception. That's awesome. That's awesome. And that's from a firefighter. Okay. Jason Edwards writes, I shoot at Alyssa's chest. It's a weird save to make, so she always practices it. You know, that's awesome, right? That's the real deal, Jason. Like that's important, okay? And Alyssa's one of the top goalies in the country, and I've seen goalies get stung like you wouldn't believe, like it'd be just because they're not. I've talked about this over the years, like when your goalie gets hit in the head and goalies think like they have a concussion. To be honest, I think a lot of times the goalies are so surprised they got hit in the helmet and the noise that it makes that they're like, right, and they're like, I should have a concussion, right, by that. But when you shoot at their chest and you can start using tennis balls and things like that, you can progress to lacrosse balls. But you got to be careful there. More for the boys and the girls. But anyway, the point is that the goalie has mastery over the ball, right, and that's something that's rarely coached or taught. Michael writes, I like to shoot at Christina's just a few inches off stick hip. Very awkward save and make her put her hip into it. Yep. Yeah, exactly. But she's padded and with tennis balls. That's a good one. Jason Edwards, a lot of goalies freeze at the dead center chest shot. That's true. I remember playing junior hockey when I was like not junior hockey in Canada, but junior hockey in Massachusetts. And how Coach McEachern was our coach, and he was like, the first shot always goes to the goalie's head. Right? Why? Because they're gonna be scared, right? In my son's situation, this is Shannon. In my son's situation, he stopped wearing a bunch of leg padding because he could move more and made him more comfortable in goal. Shannon, don't let him do it because that's bad thinking, and that's your kid is not good enough to know that yet. And you're probably going like, well, how could you say that? You've never seen my goalie. I've seen a lot of goalies, and that is exactly the mindset that's keeping goalies from being amazing. Even the girls who wear like the little tiny shin guards, because again, take them out, shoot. And like I've posted about this a lot, but the idea is like, okay, at some point the ball is too fast from too close to a spot where they can't get the head of their stick on it. The question is, what are they going to then put in front of it? And the question is, well, if they're going to put something in front of it, let's train that. Right? Because to be elite, you don't just do something once and think you got it. You do it over and over and over again. And I will guarantee you that your goalie, if they answer those questions, which they should, because if they lie, then whatever. But the thing is that they will then realize I can't make this save enough times to be world class at it. And then my question for them is, then what the hell are you doing? Right? What the hell are you doing? Jody writes, my goalie will not play without protection. He had to make a trip back home from lacrosse camp this week due to forgetting shin guard covers. Right there you go. Ken Schwander writes, we played a tournament last weekend in a game with three. Okay, this was Ken. That was your post, right? We played a tournament last weekend in a game with 3 yellow cards for the team we were playing. They were very aggressive. One of our parents heard a parent from the other team say, is it really a lacrosse game if a yellow or red card is not seen? Also heard them say, our girls are told to aim at the goalie's head, especially on penalty shots. Well, okay, if they're going to shoot at your head, bring it. It's like the most protected spot I am. I would say, like, if I'm going to be that parent, shoot it at the goalie's pelvic protector that she's probably not wearing, right? That's a better, like, really, if you're going to be an ass on a sideline, at least be a good one, right? Right? Say it appropriately, okay? So this was, yeah, Jonathan Redfern to Shannon. where is he? Then he wasn't wearing good pads. Pads do not inhibit movement if they are fit correctly and the right type. That's true. Michael Strakes. Jason Edwards. Fake news. Pads don't slow you down. May be uncomfortable, but not slower. And that's coming from a dad whose goalie basically plays like naked. Like, I would love the Jason, man. Anyway, it's all good. Michael Strakes, yet almost all the girls at Goalie Smith this week weren't wearing them. Yeah, right. Don't get me started, Michael. Now you're just starting the shit, but that's okay. Jason Edwards, those parents had to be from Long Island. Ken Schwander, was that Long Island parents you're talking about? Michael Strakes, laugh out loud. I swear I tried. Jason, like, you give me 15 minutes with Alyssa, she's wearing shin guards. All right. So anyway, let's put it this way. As someone who coaches goalies and works with a lot of goalies, if I see your goalie in the cage and I've got accurate shooters, I'm telling my team how to take advantage of your goalie. That's it. Let's just put it that way. Okay. Michael Strakes or Connecticut, Long Island or Connecticut for those parents. All right. Listen, everybody, I didn't even get to my last question for tonight. And I have a goalie audit I have to do here in 2 minutes. I've got a goal, one of the top goalies in the country that unfortunately I booked right at 7:00 my time. So I'm not going to get to the last question tonight, but maybe I'll record it and put it in the group separately and get it at a later date just so you guys have, because I know some of you guys are listening for me to cover that now that tournament season is over, and what to do now. Okay. What to do now. That's a really important thing to do. So, but for those of you guys that are here tonight, and thanks for all the comments, that was fantastic. There was a lot of great interaction. I love it. And we had some record numbers after that slow start. I love it. Listen, now is one of the best times to, if I can help you to do a goalie audit for your goalie, at least do a goalie audit for your goalie, and be able to assess your goalie and find out what they should be doing, what they should be working on. And so if that's something that you're interested in, then you can reach out to me at Coach Edwards at lacrossegoalietips.com. And because now is a time of the year where it's time to reassess, right? It's time to reassess and get very strategic about what you're going to do with your goalie, so that you come into the next season, whatever that may be for you, for the fall, for the winter, for the spring, that they're ready to go. All right. And so if that's you and I can help you, I'd love to. All right. This is that awesome. Avery, good. Thank you very much. Jason Edwards, soon. Last tournament was last weekend. American Select next week, and she is done for a while. Avery, are you out in Indiana? Are you out there now? Michael Strakes, last week for us too. Futures and Under Armour All-American. Hope she plays well. Train. Jason Edwards, best wishes to Alyssa. Hey, Bob McGee, good to see you, buddy. Joined late tonight, but that's awesome, from Marysville. And then Jason and Michael, you guys need to go have a beer together at Futures, and that'll be awesome. So that's fantastic. No, I still have senior year of high school, and then you're going. That's cool for Avery. All right. Tryouts next week's for Z. Thanks, Michael. Definitely. That's all good. All right, guys. So listen, everybody, have a great night. Make sure you pop into the group, leave a comment, leave a post, leave a photo of your goalie, leave some video, leave a comment. Just be active in there. Don't be a lurker. And if you got a question, if you got something bugging you, put it in there. We got the best community out there, best parents, best goalies, best coaches, best people. And that makes me really happy, really proud. So, all right, guys, you guys have a great week, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and thanks for listening wherever you are. Do me a favor, hit the like button if you like this, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. When you're ready, head on over to lacrossegoalieuniversity.com/coaching so I can work with you and your goalie. And while you're at it, check out athletespecific.com to learn more about mental performance and high performance. You may not know this, but I work with athletes in a variety of sports. Lacrosse is my love, but man, I love athletes and the families who support them. So head on over to athletespecific.com, check it out, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.